eeNews is reporting from the RISC-V Workshop here in Barcelona with a lot of different players and supporters. And we're here with Rick O'Connor, and Rick O'Connor is the man who's organizing all this.
Well, I'm just one of the people behind the organizing. It's been a tremendous event, and our hosts here at Universitat Politécnica de Catalunya and the Barcelona Supercomputing Center have been excellent. So it's a great event.
RISC is on the rise.
RISC-V is absolutely on the rise. We have over 150 members in the foundation now, across the world in 25 countries, representing close to 55% of the world's population. So I'm not suggesting for a moment that everyone has a RISC-V processor in their pocket. Not yet.
But that is the ultimate dream.
Well, we certainly see the ISA as being applicable across all computing platforms, from deeply embedded IoT kind of devices right through to superscalar cloud machines and high-performance computing. And hence the interest from the Barcelona Supercomputing Center. There's quite a bit of interest.
I hear different versions of this, because one side I hear, it's not to replace, the typical processor we're seeing in this world. It's more for specific controller functions. And if I talk with the director of the computer center here, he says, no, wait, at some point there will be a supercomputer based on RISC architecture.
On RISC-V, you mean?
On RISC-V architecture, yeah, sure, sorry.
No problem. The reality of it is the ISA and the foundation behind the ISA, there are no limitations in terms of how or where the ISA will be used. Clearly the industry has had tremendous benefit from architectures that have come before RISC-V. We all benefit from, in our mobile devices, from ARM architectures. We all use server platforms that use x86 and so on. And those are important and compelling architectures in our industry. This just happens to be the first free and open instruction set architecture that people can design purpose-built custom processors around. Some of the early production wins and so on are in fact in that sort of space where they're purpose-built accelerators tailored for a specific data set that can benefit from the performance that you get and the tuning that you get from doing that, as opposed to using a general purpose processor. So it's not at the exclusion of anything that's come before. From our standpoint, it embraces things that have come before and takes the whole industry forward.
Now there is support in the market, there is money in the market, there are investments done. What do you feel will be the next big step for RISC-V to actually to make the necessary step into the future? What will that be? What are you looking for?
Well, there's a number of deployments now. Depending on who your dentist is, there are dental cameras that look into your mouth for cavities and so on that are RISC-V based in production. So there's a number of applications that use RISC-V today. There are many, as you can see by the support and enthusiasm here at the workshop. There are many processor core vendors, both at the IP, hard IP, soft IP, new devices from Sci-Fi and other companies that are being released. So the uptake doesn't happen overnight, no question. But if you just use the momentum of membership traction within the foundation as a gauge for adoption and the growth that we've seen across the membership on its own, like I said, 150 members, is pretty staggering. And you don't have to be a member of the foundation in order to use RISC-V. So if you just think of that as a proxy of adoption worldwide, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. RISC-V will enable a lot of companies to be more competitive and have a different sort of design. What is required for these companies to make this step? I can feel there's a lot of waiting and seeing by a lot of companies. What will convince them? Well, in embracing the RISC-V ISA architecture?
I kind of have the opposite view. I don't think there's a lot of companies that are waiting and seeing. There's literally a lot of companies. Every time I put up the logo slide of members, it's out of date. So like weekly, new companies are coming and joining the foundation and participating. and our user forums, which are open mail lists, are very, very active with like hundreds of email threads a day on different topics around the ISA development, around hardware development, around software development. We have upstream GCC tools, LLVM is in the works. There were presentations on Debian and Fedora ports. There's all kinds of embedded RTOS ports. All the tool vendors like Lauterbach and Seeger and Ultrasoc and so on all support the technology. So the ecosystem is building out. And even with Martin Fink's presentation from Western Digital earlier today, where he talks about, they ship about 1 billion cores a year on their storage platforms, and they're going to convert all of that over to RISC-V. Yeah. So there's not a lot of people that are on the sidelines waiting and seeing. In fact, more and more are coming into the foundation every day. Yeah.
Now, this is Barcelona, workshop in Barcelona. You're having workshops basically all over the world. Yes. What is your expectation from the European market? What do you feel?
So this is our
first. Will do.
Yeah. Right. So this is our first workshop here in Europe, and this turns out to be the 3rd largest one that we've held outside of Silicon Valley. So we had a workshop in Shanghai, and we've had other workshops in the U.S. outside of the Silicon Valley. But this is the largest one outside of Silicon Valley. So that in and of itself is an interesting testament to the interest in across Europe. I don't think there's any geographical differences, right, in terms of adoption or barriers, or it's really one, if you will, flat processor community that knows no geographical boundaries. One of the things that was announced today is one of the reader textbooks, one of the reference materials, right, has been translated into Spanish and is available for free as a download for people who are trying to understand and adopt RISC-V. So that's interesting, and obviously has geographical implications just from a language standpoint. Yeah. But overall, we're pretty pleased with the number of members that we have out of the European community, and we expect that to continue to grow.
Okay. 1 year from now?
1 year from now. Well, instead of having 2 workshops a year, we have partnered with a company called Informa, who's one of the largest events organizers in the world. They actually have helped us run this workshop here in Barcelona. And we'll be moving from 2 workshops a year, 2 events a year, to 5 or 6 events a year with Informa. And in the fall, we expect to run what we're calling the RISC-V Summit, and it'll be an anchor event every year in the fall in the Valley, and we expect to have more than 1,000 attendees at that event. RISC-V is indeed on the rise.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.